Joining me now is Sky News contributor Kosha Gada. Kosha, she took a big gamble being interviewed by someone like Bret Baier, who you've got to say, it's not like she was interviewed by Sean Hannity or Tucker Carlson or Greg Gutfeld. You would expect that a presidential candidate could handle a tough interviewer who plays it straight down the line, and she floundered.
She did take a gamble, and that is the million-dollar question. You could see she did not want to be there. She couldn't get out of there fast enough, and she did it because she has to. This race is very, very, very tight, and the momentum is with Trump. And historically, there is precedent where the Democrat candidate begrudgingly will give one Fox News interview when there's 20, 30 days left. Obama did it, Hillary did it, it used to be with Bill O'Reilly. So maybe she has to do that because they have a big audience, a lot of independents, and actually, frankly, Democrats watch Fox News. Yep. But she was not prepared. She was not prepared. To me, the big takeaway is she remained substance-free. She does so by filibustering, using filler words. She said multiple times, let's be clear, let's be clear. She's never clear. And she hides behind others. Like she likes to hide behind the legislative branch because everything was like, I will follow the law. Congress needs to act. So she shifts blame without ever weighing in on her position. Yes, she doesn't pass laws, but she can weigh in on which laws she thinks are better or not. And she wouldn't do it, and he had her dead to rights.
And he knew the facts. When she brings up nonsense about this was the first thing we addressed and we had this bill. Well, yeah, that bill was just going to create a pathway to citizenship for millions of illegal immigrants. That's not going to solve the border crisis. Right. And he knew that level of detail. And I've seen so many interviews with her where that's not followed up. There really is, very frustrating to watch. Now, you might remember this, Donald Trump's debate with Kamala Harris. There was a point where one of the moderators fact-checked Donald Trump when he talked about increasing crime rates.
It's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice President Harris,
the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud.
Well, that fact check didn't age too well because the FBI has now admitted to excluding tens of thousands of crimes in their statistics, releasing massively revised crime data showing violent crime is up, not down. Kosha, pity the tens of millions who would have seen that debate and assumed the moderator was being accurate. That's not the case.
Yep, that's how it goes. It reminds me of just in August, the Bureau of Labor Statistics came out with a revision that the new job growth was actually overinflated by 800,000. Now this, homicides, overinflated by 80,000. And the big splashy media events, they will put that out there, and then there might be a small correction like this that comes out later that people will never see. Maybe Trump will find a way to get that cut through. It's either incompetence by these agencies, BLS or FBI, all the way to something more sinister, where maybe it's deliberate because they're in the business of narrative shaping rather than actually stating facts. The truth might be somewhere in between.
Well, we know back in 2020, they were complicit in pushing the absolute lie, and they knew better than anyone that it was a lie, that Hunter Biden's laptop wasn't real, that it was some sort of Russian disinformation. And we saw that in the presidential debate between Biden and Trump, where Biden said it's Russian disinformation. And of course it wasn't. And that would have possibly made a significant difference if there was clarity around that issue.
Yep, 51 intelligence agencies. So that's where when that became a headline.
Those intelligence officers
who signed a letter saying that it's not correct, and people hide behind that fact. And as you said, Biden did hide behind it in the debate. Leslie Stahl, famously in the 60 Minutes interview, said, can't verify it. It's unverifiable. A laptop is unverifiable. And that's why Trump didn't do the 60 Minutes interview, because he never got that apology.
Now, the US Border Patrol Union has announced on behalf of its 16,000 members that it is strongly endorsing Donald Trump for president. Here's Border Patrol agent Paul Perez, who is in charge of one of the union's local chapters.
If we allow Borders-R Harris to win this election, every city, every community in this great country is going to go to hell.
How important is this endorsement? And it's been very interesting to see the union movement, who is remaining with the Democrats, you expect them all to be with the Democrats, and which ones are not endorsing either candidate, and with a few that are siding with Trump.
I think there's a cumulative effect with all these endorsements. On a micro level, generally, I think endorsements, the media covers them a lot. I don't know how much they shift voters, whether it's Taylor Swift or whether it's a person over here. However, cumulatively, it does matter because you get an overall picture of where the mood of the country is and different figures, cultural figures or leaders in this case of law enforcement coming in. And it's just a reminder that because the Border Patrol has endorsed Trump every time he's run now, 16 and 20, his signature issue is immigration and the border. That is what put him in the White House in 2016. And the Kamala campaign is trying to somehow claim that issue and say that she's the only one who's prosecuted transnational, that line that she keeps saying of people crossing the border. It's flat, it's falling flat, and this endorsement, I think, sort of is just one more thing that lays that bare that she is not the one who's strong on the border, he is.
And the Trump camp has put out yet another ad. This one's got attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
Hell no, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that.
Kamala supports transgender sex changes in jail with our money.
Kamala even supports letting biological men compete against our girls in their sports. Kamala is for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
These ads are colourful. How impactful is the social media game, these short, punchy ads? Both sides Kamala's camp is cashed up, so they're really spending enormous amounts. It's been reported she's raised something like $1 billion. So if Trump had that kind of money, it would all be over. But how do you see the two campaigns travelling at the moment?
I think the social media ads and the shorts is a big thing just because such a huge swath of the electorate doesn't watch cable news anymore. And we know that. And in the media industry, those who are ahead of the game on digital are doing well, and those that are behind are speaking to a certain, the baby boomers and the people that still watch linear TV and only linear TV. So it's a big deal. Democrats typically, and under Obama, were really strong with this, and the Republicans just have never been good at these kinds of tactics, including Trump, last two times. So I think his team has lifted their game over this, and everything from the podcast to these ads that he's doing, it's important. And on that issue, the trans issue and the cultural thing, it's not a top 5 issue like on a macro level compared to the economy and immigration, but it is really, really important to parents in suburbs. And that suburban mom vote is one where Trump has always been a bit soft with, and he is making inroads.
The one question I was hoping Bret would ask that he didn't get to is, what is a woman? Could Kamala answer that question?
That would have been great.
Kosha Gada, thanks for your time.
Pleasure.